We're only one day away from the next town hall meeting in Otter Creek, where last month, Russ The Suss had an illegal meeting right here, and he's now under investigation for it. And he's under investigation for a whole lot more. The agenda is hung, and also the new qualifying candidates, Laura Mott, Stuart Stewart, Don Severino, running for the 2-year seats are right here. Joseph Pate, Carl Hughes running for the 1-year seats. What does that mean? I'm about to tell you. To understand the agenda, you have to understand the politicking in Otter Creek. And in Otter Creek, there are 5 seats. You see this right here, seat number 1, seat number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Now, let's just say I sit here, this is seat number 4, okay? See this gap right here? Every other year, 3 members or 3 seats of the council go up for election. And then the opposite year, 2 seats go up for election, okay? So that way, every other year, one of them is odd year, one of them is an even year. Every year there's election. You're either voting for 2 council member seats or you're voting for 3 council member seats every other year. So it may be this year that we're at 3 council seats. Next year, we're at 2 council seats. The next year, we're at 3 council seats. But everyone who sits on a seat serves for 2 years, except right now in Otter Creek because of a little hiccup. This is Don the Con's seat. He's up for re-election in April. So this seat, either he could win it or somebody else could win it. His 2 years are up. Now, Russ The Suss at the beginning of the year was given a 1-year term that expires with Don the Con because it was all thrown off basis based on Laura Mott, who jumped down and went to run for county commissioner, and she failed. But here's what's happened since then. We had our council member Gail step down as well. So now that seat is open. So this year, we're not just voting on 2. Because Gail stepped down, there's an empty seat. Now we vote on 3. But Madam Mayor Therese sold the campground with her husband. They're going traveling the world. They're going to have the time of their lives. And so her seat is actually up for re-election as well. 4 seats. The only one that is permanent, who is going to be revoted next year, is Vice Mayor Zims. This is extremely important as we get into the agenda. This year, we're supposed to be voting on 2 seats, but with the step downs, we're actually voting on 4 seats. But to keep everything in the sequence I already shared with you, 3 seats 1 year, 2 seats the next year, 3 seats 1 year, 2 seats the next year. There are 2 seats that are going up for election that will only serve a 1-year term. This will get it all back on track to where there's the 3 1 year, 2 the next year, and 2 seats that are going up for a 2-year term. Again, all to get back on track. Now, we've already seen that Joseph and Carl, they actually put in their name for these 2 1-year seats. So here's the seat right here for Joseph. He runs unopposed. Carl runs unopposed because there's 2 seats each a year, but nobody else ran. 2 people, 2 seats. They both get in with no vote needed whatsoever because there's no opposition. Because the ignorant fools, Russ The Suss's minions, all went, you know what, let's go for the 2-year seat. We'll really stick it to the town of Otter Creek. And so Don the Con, Stuart Stewart, Laura Mott, all 3 ran for these 2 2-year seats. Now, obviously, there's 3 people and only 2 seats. There must be an election for these 2 seats because 3 people are running. There's nothing that has to be done for these 2 1-year seats because only 2 people are running. Now let's dig into the agenda. Some of you may be wondering what's going on with Jeremy being assaulted and battered in Chiefland. We'll get to that in another video, okay? Stephen Rhett Rat Cunningham, the son of Amanda Martin, Levy County Courthouse victims advocate. We're gonna get to all of it. As a matter of fact, I just left her supervisor another message because Channel 20 is coming to take the entire story on. As I'm filming this, they're in a full staff meeting how they're gonna handle this entire story. And others wanna know what in the world is going on with Russ The Suss. This is the investigation letter, and we'll get into that as well. This all ties in, all of this, even with Amanda Martin, even with her son Rhett assaulting me, it all ties in, all back to Russ the Suss, the Meeks family. I've got the agenda here. First thing is mayor call to order, pledge, and roll call, okay? And right now you're going, how can it be the mayor if there is no mayor? Well, currently, the vice mayor is most likely going to act as the current mayor under these circumstances. Now, I don't know for sure. This is just an educated guess because with the Madam Mayor stepping down, Vice Mayor Zim will probably fill that role. Even though last month, Russ the Suss, in his illegal meeting outside of Town Hall, he went on and yelling and screaming and telling everybody, I'm taking the town back. I'm going to be the mayor. And people are going, yeah, yeah. What he just did was buried himself in investigations, which we're going to get to that. I promise you, we're getting to that. Oh, by the way, Russ The Suss has been running all over town, trying to campaign and do anything he can to try and stay on this council because the man so arrogantly and ignorantly did not fill out Form 6 because he thought since Madam Mayor just stepped down, he's going to promote himself as mayor. He's going to be in there for 2 years so he doesn't have to. And come to find out, his ignorance is still his Achilles heel. It's the detriment to all of these people. They are beyond stupid. All right, approval of agenda, which we're looking at the agenda right now, okay? This is my picture. You can even see my head in the picture. Look at that. Mm-hmm. All right. Approval of minutes from December 19th meeting, 2023. If approved as submitted, council members sign a copy for public record. Now, this is something Russ never did. Madam Mayor actually implemented this because legally they have to have signatures on these meetings. If they want to get any banking done, anything that involves the town with third-party contracts, they must have approved minutes with signatures to be able to do these things. So Madam Mayor actually implemented the appropriate way to do these things. New business. New business is qualifying results. Now, qualifying means those candidates. We went through all those chairs already, and I shared with you, Russ the Suss did not go through the appropriate measures to make sure he was qualified to be on this council. Very foolish, extremely foolish. Especially when he's telling everybody he's taking the town back. This is my town. I love Otter Creek. Otter Creek and Russell Meek are like this. Okay, so he did not fill out for qualifying. So the qualifying results are simply going to be, as we saw on the other paperwork at Town Hall, it's going to be Carl Hughes, who qualified. It's going to be Joseph Tate, who qualified. And for the 2-year seats, it's going to be Don the Con, who qualified. It's going to be Laura Mott, who qualified, and Stuart Stewart, who qualified. That's it. That's who qualified. There is no Russ the Suss. He did not qualify, nor can he get out of his 1-year seat assignment, which was voted on by the entire council and approved, and therefore cannot be undone. Although he's going to try in this meeting. This is going to be a meeting. It's going to be a fired up meeting. And frankly, you may see some things you have never seen before happen. And I'm thinking about just live streaming it for you instead of cutting it all up into videos. That might even be a good idea too. We'll see what direction we go. Okay, and then filling the vacant council seats. Now keep in mind the vacant council seats are Gail's seat and Madam Mayor's seat. So they do have 2 vacant council seats that go on for February, which is this meeting month, March, and April. And then April is the election, and then they're seated the next month in May. So there's a few months there. And the general thought and philosophy is you have 2 individuals that are going to get seated unopposed. Nobody ran against them for the 2 1-year seats. You need to immediately put them in those seats to fill out the remainder of this term. And I think that's what this is going to be about, filling the vacant council seats. And then also the community center is back up on the new business. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to get into the investigation with Russell, but we're going to get through this first. Old business is just blank. Now, I don't know that anybody's going to bring up old business, and I'm sure they can if they want to. It can be added to the agenda. But as of right now, there is nothing on the old business agenda. And then department reports. Administration, that'll probably be Belinda. Sweetest town clerk this town has probably ever had. And she's honest. And she has high moral character. And she has the greatest integrity. This is what we need in Otter Creek. All right, and then we have maintenance. That'll most likely be Richard, and I know he's been working on the water plant and trying to get the new filters back up and running. Parks and Rec probably won't have anything in regards to that because while there is a park, no recreation is ever happening there because Russ The Suss took everything down. Public safety and water, I'm sure that will be Vice Mayor Zim giving us an update on what's happening with our water. And then announcements. Announcements, children's food table every other Friday. And then we're going to get into public comments. Members of the public have 3 minutes to comment on the items, issues discussed at the meeting. The public is encouraged to visit Town Hall during the scheduled business hours or leave comments in the drop box at Town Hall. And I do have a public comment that I'm going to want to make, and then it will adjourn. Now, this is different from what we've seen with Madam Mayor Therese did. She implemented public comments in the beginning and then public comments at the end. This agenda just has one space for public comments. Now, frankly, with my public comments that are coming, I honestly wish they were at the beginning because I think with what I have to share with the community, but particularly with the council of Otter Creek, because my comments will be directed to them and them alone, is pertinent to what they're going to discuss in qualifying and with seating individuals. I want to talk to them about this. This is a letter addressed to Russell Meeks Sr. on what he's being investigated for. Now, he's being investigated because I'm the whistleblower. And me blowing the whistle on all this corruption in Otter Creek has gotten us where we are today, has gotten us to where we're at the point where I'm literally being assaulted by the Levy County Victims Advocate, Amanda Martin's son, Stephen Rat Cunningham, which I know everybody wants to see the video of that. And yes, we have the video surveillance cameras from the businesses, from Walmart, when Amanda Martin saw me just moments before, then stalked me, then her son is there, he assaults me. We won't be releasing any of that, none of it, until after he's arrested and charges are pending. Now, as of right now, he has not been arrested. What's happening is all the information is being gathered, and then it's going to the DA, and then the DA has to put out the arrest warrant. So I'm hopeful that the system isn't so corrupt that he gets to walk away from all of this. We know there are good people, and we're hoping the DA does the right thing. But Russ The Suss never did. And so Russ The Suss is being investigated on 13 points. Now, I know 13 points because I've actually addressed these 13 points with the Ethics Committee in Tallahassee. Now, it's confidential information unless he releases it or I want to talk about it. And I haven't talked about it up until this point. So point number one, I'm going to go through all 13 with you. I have them right here because I typed it out and I wrote it. Point number one, community residents state that former mayor / current council member Russell Meeks Sr. abused his position of mayor to receive adult intimate, we'll just use that phrase, even though that's not the phrase that I typed, to receive adult intimate favors from, I'm just going to leave that name blank, and I'm going to need to leave that name blank at this point in time as well, in exchange for restoring town water service to their home, and I'm going to leave the address blank. Do you understand the lack of ethics, the lack of morals, the lack of integrity, the lack of common decency for someone in a town of 100 people to want to be the mayor so that they have control over water? And the only reason they really want to have control over water is so that they can receive adult intimate favors in exchange for it. I find a huge problem with that. And these people should be coming forward. My goodness, they would have such a lawsuit, not only against Russ The Suss, but the state the state would be liable. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in settlement money. The state would be liable because to this point, they have done absolutely nothing to correct this issue. Which brings us to point number 2. On January 16th, 2023, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. was filmed. I hope you understand that I made it a little bit of an accident there. It's 2024, not 2023. So on 2024, just a month ago, Russell Meeks Sr. was filmed breaking Florida sunshine law by inappropriately discussing town business. The illegal discussion included current council member Don Severino with other council members present, including Gail. I apologize. You know what? I shouldn't get that far into it. And Gail isn't a council member either, so it's community members. This person was present, this person was present, this person, and it goes on through a list of those who were present. The entire conversation was captured on video and uploaded to various social media platforms. Sunshine law is very, very, very specific. Any town council member or any government official cannot discuss any business outside of an organized, opened meeting. When we call the meeting to order, whether it starts with the pledge and prayer or prayer and pledge or just the pledge, it doesn't matter. That's the official time to talk about town hall business. And that is it. It is unethical, it is immoral, it is inappropriate and unacceptable to discuss any of these things outside of those meetings. Russ the Suss and Don the Con can't have conversations. Now, do they? You know they do just as much as I know they do. They're planning. They're trying to work the system together, right? It doesn't work that way under the law, which is why he's being investigated. This was just a month ago. Might as well throw that in the investigation as well. And the funny thing is these fools. I mean, fool is the wrong word for them because a fool still has some intellect. But these ignorant fools think that they're grandstanding outside of a town hall meeting, which did not take place, but then they tried to have their own inappropriate, illegal meeting, and then they're doing it on camera. Who in the right mind films themselves breaking the law? This is the mindset of linettes and crooks. When they're going, oh, Crook's in the middle of the road. Jeremy and George are coming by. And they're submitting that as evidence to prove they didn't break the civil protection orders. And now they're getting charges and a record because the evidence they're submitting proves they did break the civil protection orders. Complete and total stupidity. Complete and total stupidity for a victim's advocate to drop her son off, to stalk me, follow me, drop her son off, to assault me. The mentality or the lack of it of these individuals is astounding. No brains. No brains at all. Which brings us to ethics complaint investigation number 3. On May 9th, 2023, former mayor / current council member Russell Meeks Sr. illegally canceled the monthly town hall meeting. A note was placed on the town hall door that said, by the order of the mayor, so that's the order of Russ the Suss, due to an emergency, the meeting of Otter Creek Town Council scheduled for May 9th, 2023 is canceled to be rescheduled later in the month on due and proper notice. When asked about the emergency that he canceled by the meeting, Channel 20 News in Gainesville, Russell Meeks Sr. stated on film, "It was not an emergency. Who said anything about an emergency?"
Can you repeat that one more time?
It was not an emergency. There ain't no clerk. There ain't no show.
Do you guys follow sunshine laws? Because that is something that needs to be
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
We have to follow the sunshine laws. Yes, we follow the sunshine laws.
Many community members were present, and it was broadcasted on Channel 20 and various social media platforms. Russell Meeks Sr. locked town hall for over 2.5 months with absolutely no explanation. Now, we all understand it was Mary town hall meetings are scary. Who typed up the notice, who laminated the notice, who put the notice on the door, and Russ had no knowledge of even how to do emails. This is the fool that thinks that the current clerk is sending emails deliberately to his spam folder. How dumb can you be? And who in their right mind would put this individual in charge of a town and money when the man doesn't even understand how an inbox and a spam folder works? What the world currently uses to do business. All right, so you understand that he illegally canceled, he illegally closed all of Town Hall. But now he has a problem because a member didn't show up in January. Yet he's never had a problem when he's pulled no-shows on Madam Mayor Therese and nothing could be accomplished. The man is complaining about the same things that he has done to the current or previous administration. Let's go on to point number 4. On October 10th, 2023, former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. inappropriately responded to the current town hall clerk with a demeaning nature during a meeting. When her husband defended her, Russell Meeks Sr. stood up and told resident Doug Standridge, "Hit me!" I'm sure you remember this. It's all recorded. It's all on the channel. It's all in the Otter Creek playlist. During the town hall meeting, this was captured on video and uploaded to various social media platforms. So you've got a council member who is antagonizing, who is riling up the residents of the community that he's voted and he's entrusted to serve with a comment of "hit me." He's literally trying to fight. He's not fighting for Otter Creek. He's fighting against and with Otter Creek residents. That in itself is completely and totally mind-blowing. Number 5, on May 2023, former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. was filmed removing town hall public records. Russell Meeks Sr. loaded his truck with maintenance worker Richard Tyndall. And when asked during a town hall meeting what Russell was doing with the truck loaded of public records, he stated, "It was the clerk's belongings." Another resident, I won't state her name, witnessed Russell Meeks Sr. not stopping at the clerk's home. According to her, he was headed towards the town dump transfer station with a full load of records. There were 2 truckloads witnessed removed. No one witnessed anything being dropped off at the previous clerk's home. I would like to see if you could get an answer from Russell. What was removed from town hall in the midst of a lawsuit?
What?
Former clerk,
That
personal
doesn't, that's not public comment there.
He says it's her personal item.
Russell doesn't know anything about that office, and yet he knew enough to know what was Mary's personal items and pull them out with Richard. To this day, public records are still missing. Recordings of meetings that Russ The Suss doesn't want anybody to have, because if they did, that's right, they incriminate him. Okay, no corruption though, right? This isn't, Don wants to say, he is not corrupt. Well, that's not for Don to decide. That's for the government officials, the investigators, to actually decide. Number 6, former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. illegally pulled already approved electric and plumbing permits of residents blank and blank because adult intimate favors were denied to him by that resident. When questioned about his behavior during public comments during a town hall meeting, Russell Meeks Sr. illegally adjourned the meeting and stated, "Sue us!"
Sue us.
This interaction was filmed and is posted on social media platforms, various ones. Russ The Suss never anticipated anybody else coming into Otter Creek who actually would take him up on his challenge. Challenge was accepted. Town of Otter Creek was sued. Now, many of you want to know, where is that lawsuit in its process? And the funny thing is, as Don the Con continues to complain about bills, and Russ The Suss continues to complain about bills, not one of them have yet to state one of the biggest bills that they have found in their paperwork during a town hall meeting, which was payment to Jeremy Hales, based off of the lawsuit. It was sitting in front of them the entire time, on paper the entire time. Now, this proves a couple of different things. Number one, they don't do anything in preparation for these meetings. Number two, they have no sense whatsoever of finances at all. All they come to do is to complain and argue. All right, the town of Otter Creek and myself have settled. We have settled. It was based on a monetary amount, and that monetary amount has been before the entire council, and they've said nothing. It's literally, I've watched them sitting in town hall, the numbers in front of them as they're complaining about not getting bills. It's in front of them, and they've said nothing about this huge amount of money. All right, so now you're thinking, Jeremy, why did you settle? Well, first of all, the town of Otter Creek came to me under their legal counsel and asked if I would settle. And then they asked again if I would settle. And then I looked at Judge Craig DeThomasis, who was the residing judge over the lawsuit. And I'm already in a lawsuit with a rogue black robe syndrome judge, Craig DeThomasis. And the smartest thing to me at that point in time was, you know what? I am not going to bring another case before this rogue judge. And I went ahead and I said, yes, you're now doing the appropriate things. I will settle. And we settled that lawsuit. And the only reason I settled that lawsuit is because they were doing the right thing at that appropriate time, but also knowing that Judge Craig DeThomasis is rogue, and there would be no justice coming from his courtroom. All right, number 7. Former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. has illegally hired town employees without proper posting for hire. Norma Adams was hired as an assistant clerk, but no job posting was ever created or advertised. Angela Brown was hired as a second assistant clerk and was promised the position by Vice Mayor Stuart Stewart. This illegal act is documented in town emails created by the clerk, Mary. And Albert Fuller was hired as planning and zoning, but Russell Meeks Sr. used him as a building official / permitting. No job posting was ever created or advertised, nor was the position officially created by the town council during an official meeting. The position was created solely by Russell Meeks Sr. to control and deny outsiders projects in Otter Creek. Another individual was hired as maintenance with no job posting. This was before Richard. Another individual was hired as maintenance with no job posting or advertising. Richard Tyndall was hired as maintenance with no job posting or advertising. Mary DeGroot was hired as town clerk with no posting or advertising. All of these hirings were done by Russell Meeks Sr. without any proper posting or advertising per Sunshine Law. I hope you understand he broke the law again and 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 again. He can't just go up, or Stuart Stewart, the then vice mayor, who is running for another seat now, can't go to Angela Brown and go, oh yeah, you're going to get this position. He can't promise, and that's what Stuart Stewart did, and we have that all in email format, and the investigators have all of that. You can't promise this position to somebody legally for a government position, which this was. It must be properly advertised. It must be properly posted. You must take in the information for those interested. What they did was did not advertise it, did not post it, and promised it to Angela Brown. And we have all that proof in email. Who's that all under? That's right, the tenure of Russell Meeks Sr. You think there's a little something sus about the Russ? Okay. Number 8, former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. knowingly misappropriated funds. He ordered Mary DeGroot to cut a check for $7,500 and then he signed it. There was absolutely no conversation with the council members, even though the charter clearly states that anything over $500 must be approved by the council and sent out for bid. During the 2023 independent audit, Powell and Jones discovered the $7,500 illegally came out of the general fund. Now, enough should be said there. This man should not be in charge of any finances whatsoever. And he's directing government employees. As he's incriminating himself, he's incriminating others. This is insanity. Number 9, in 2022, former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. and former town clerk Mary DeGroot held an illegal, per Sunshine Laws, private meeting with the Wetland Solution, Inc. During this meeting, current council member Don Severino attempted to enter the town hall building, but both Russell Meeks Sr. and Mary DeGroot attempted to lock him out. And how do we know this? Because it's all in the 6,000 emails. Mary writes to Attorney Worm about it. Insanity. All of this is documented in emails, in email form created by the clerk. Other residents witnessed this occurrence, including somebody and somebody. And during the investigation, these individuals will be contacted by Tallahassee. So Russ is not only having illegal meetings outside with former council members and town residents. I hope you realize that as you see Russ the Suss and Don the Con now trying to work together, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, all before this, they were enemies. Mary didn't want Don the Con anywhere because Don asked questions. Russ didn't want Don the Con anywhere because Don asked questions. Stupid questions? Yes. But questions are threatening to somebody who's being very active in corrupt activity. I hope you get that. So the entire time, these two were like this. Now they're like this. They literally tried to lock him out of a town hall meeting because they were having an illegal meeting. Don got word of it, tried to get in on the meeting, and then they got caught. All right. Number 10, per records request, a bill from Meeks & Son was found dated 7/10/20. Former mayor, current council member Russell Meeks Sr. is the creator of this business, in which is now his son Rocky runs. Now, Rocky is currently a council member, or not a council member, but a commissioner for the county. Now, I've stated this from the beginning. I wasn't going to talk about the county commissioners because they haven't involved themselves. The reality is they have involved themselves. It's just not been exposed how they've involved themselves yet. But you're seeing every aspect of this all come together and all piece together. For example, Amanda Martin's son, Stephen the Rat Cunningham, assaulting me. Directly tied to Amanda Martin, directly tied to Lynette, and directly tied to the Meeks family. This all of this is all comes together, okay? So, at a bare minimum, it appears Meeks & Son is inappropriately purchasing products through the town hall accounts, though it would appear as the town of Otter Creek is paying for plumbing supplies for Meeks & Son. That's point number 10. And I know you already got this. Illegal. 10 points already. Illegal. Well, I didn't stop there. Number 11. Under the order of former mayor and current council member Russell Meeks Sr., former clerk Mary DeGroot was conducting business for Meeks & Sons Plumbing. An onboarding document dated 10/12/20 was created using all the town resources. This is a clear misappropriation of resources and funds. In other words, Mary, well, we already know Rosemary, Don's wife, was running at a minimum 3 different businesses from town hall. Misappropriation of funds, resources, utilities, you name it, computers, none of this stuff should have ever happened in town hall. It's illegal. Now we have confirmation and proof that Mary DeGroot was running business for Russell from town hall. Illegal. I hope you get this. It's all illegal. Don't try and justify it and go, well, I don't think it's illegal. It should be. No, it's all illegal. There is the law. It is black and it is white. This is right. This is wrong. What happened was wrong. They cannot do personal business inside town hall, period, on resources at all in the building. It doesn't work that way. Okay. And number 12, upon arrival to Otter Creek in 2021, Russell Meeks instructed former clerk Mary DeGroot to target and price gouge Jeremy Hales for town water. That's it.
And you should be treated just like everyone else is.
And I'm being billed what other people aren't being billed. So, for example, Otter Creek Post Office is a commercial property. You're not charging them at a commercial rate. You're charging them $22.50. I have other commercial or business-owned properties around me. For example, the hunting club, that's not being charged at a commercial rate. It's being charged at $22.50. So why am I, as a resident of Otter Creek, being charged $50 for something that just out of the blue you guys pulled and went, okay, I'm going to charge them $50?
Well, take it up with the council.
So who made that decision? The council didn't, because I've already talked to council members, some of them. So the council doesn't know anything about this. Some of those members, who told you to bill me at $50 a month? Am I the only one in town with a 2-inch meter?
There's one other.
Who's the other? Keep in mind, Mary DeGroot was trained by Rosemary, both of them completely and totally ignorant and incompetent at best. So, Mary thinks it's okay because Rosemary trained me. It must be okay. All right, so every resident and business in Otter Creek paid the exact same price for water except Jeremy Hales. In October of 2021, Russell Meeks Sr. guided Laura Mott and Mary DeGroot to create a new water resolution, 2021-05, to cover up his theft. The new ordinance yet again targeted Jeremy Hales and was implemented illegally. Proof of this theft was documented in email by the town clerk. 6,000 emails. And we have proof upon proof upon proof upon proof upon proof of corruption and illegal activity. And it's not just Russell, it's Mary, it's Don, it's Rosemary. And the list could probably go on and on. We're barely even through the emails yet. And don't worry, we're still working on getting those all digitized so that you can download them in a book format. Number 13, last but not least, and I'm sure after the town hall meeting tonight, we'll have much more to add to this. In March of 2023, Jeremy Hales made an official records request, and during his formal request, Russell Meeks Sr. illegally adjourned the meeting after asking Levy County deputies to remove Jeremy Hales from the meeting. This all happened during Jeremy's formal request during public comments. No public records were ever given, which resulted in a lawsuit against the town of Otter Creek. Both Russell Meeks Sr. and the town of Otter Creek was found liable. And again, all of these interactions, everything I'm sharing with you, was filmed and can be found on various social media platforms. Anybody want to guess what's going to happen to Russ the Suss?
You requested a 2-inch meter.
Yeah.
Your plumber called me personally